Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hello, everybody. Welcome to one more week of the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast. And this week, joining us from Istanbul in Turkey, the beautiful city of Istanbul, is Samet Ulutas. Hi, Samet. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Vasco.
So, by the way, as I usually do, I murder people's names on the podcast. How do I pronounce your name?
That's correct. Really. Thank you.
Oh, all right. Well, that's a first. I guess there's always a first for everything. So Samet joined us from Istanbul, as I said, and he's been working as an Agile coach for more than 3 years and coached 35 plus different teams. He also has plenty of experience dealing with the difficulties of Agile transformations, including being a witness to the Agile transformation of the largest private bank in Turkey from the beginning. Curiously, Samet is also in the media business. He's the co-owner of the Be Agile, Stay Agile YouTube channel. We'll put the link on the show notes so that people can easily find it as well. So, Samet, let's dive right in. That was a short intro. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you end up becoming a Scrum Master?
Thank you, Vasco. I met with Agile and Scrum in a training called Professional Scrum Master Certification in 2013. The training was 2 days of training, and at the end of it, I took the exam and passed it. So I succeeded to have a Scrum Master certification. After that, I left my company and became a product owner at a different company for almost 3 years. Later, I worked as project manager at my current company for 1.5 years with the decision of transformation from waterfall way of working to agile way of working of my current company. Some open positions were created in-house for recruiting new Agile Coach in 2018. I applied for that position and took it. Then I was sent to an Agile Coach training camp in Madrid for 1 month. When I came back to Turkey, I was called as Agile Coach, which was a fascinating title for me at that time. I have been working with more than 35 Agile teams since then, coaching the Scrum Masters, and also I am the Scrum Master of my own Agile Coach team. I am a life learner, and this job gives me a chance to have it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, being a Scrum Master and an Agile coach, you never stop learning. Sometimes things you want to learn, and of course, also sometimes things you would rather not learn.
Yeah,
As it might be the case in the story that you have to share with us, Samet. So next we talk about the story of failure. Of course, today's Fail Monday here on the podcast, and we want to explore one of those stories because it helps us all learn so that we don't repeat the same mistakes and we learn from each other. So, Samet, tell us that story. Walk us through the process of how that story developed from the very beginning.
Vasco, I have a business analyst background, which means if I face with a problem, I immediately try to learn more about it, try to figure out the root cause, and then I focus on the solutions, which means I keep looking for the alternative solutions for the problem. In the beginning of my Scrum Master career, I used to try to figure out the solutions for the problems for my team before asking other members to their opinions. Thus, I was restricted their imaginations about solutions alternatives. How could I realize that? After a few retros, I realized that I was the only one who tried to find solutions.
How did that look like? Like you were just, giving them solutions and they were just puzzled looking at you? How did that look like?
It was really weird. I was just talking in the room. People were tend to be silent. Once I realized the situation, I asked them the reason for being silent. Finally, one of my teammates told me that they didn't need to talk or find a way for solution. I was looking for that instead of them. Then it was a shocking moment for me because we Scrum Masters are responsible to help teams to remove the impediments, but we are not only responsible to solve all problems. We need to teach the team to solve their own problems. We need to teach them how to solve a problem. If I keep to do similar behavior and find the solutions for instead of them, it's going to be a habit. And they'll always wait for the solutions from my side. Once I realized my wrong attitude at that time, I immediately tried to focus on the correct way of it. However, it was many years experience on me trying to find solutions for the problems. So it was really difficult for me to stop saying that when my colleagues were discussing a problem. And once I had my own solutions in my mind, to correct my own behavior in the long term, I took some coaching sessions from our consultants and experienced the coaching sessions myself. Then, step by step, I tried to coach my team, especially in retros. And what I learned from that experience, knowing something doesn't mean to be able to do that thing. Experience is everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So you talked about having the right attitude or right mindset in those retros. Of course, for us as Scrum Masters, we need to translate that into something practical, right? So as you went through that learning journey with the help of the coach and also, of course, your own experience, as you said, what did you discover? What are the tools that you now use when you because also you were a project manager, so I imagine that's very much ingrained as it is in my own experience. How do you help yourself to stand back and help the team come up with the solutions?
Uh, Actually, I'm counting from my mind to 10 when I face with a problem. So I'm waiting for the response from others. This really helps me because before that, I immediately start to talk, which prevents them to talk before me.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we might want to do, like count to 10, as you said, is to open up the silence, right? Like instead of opening up the conversation, to leave the silence there until somebody comes up with their own perspective, right? Like their own ideas, maybe brainstorm, whatever that is. Are there other tools, like other things that you think about before going into a retrospective, things that help you to let the team come up with their own solutions?
Actually, structuring a retro format is really important at that time. I prepare my own retro structure upfront. I use generally 5 steps of retromat.org. Generally, I use the warm-up. Ask people, tell the last sprint what they see from their own point of view. It helps them to talk in the retros much than me. And later on, I used one of the techniques, general techniques from the retromat.org. At that time, with combining it, the counting technique, it really helps people to talk and find their own solutions for their own problems.
Yeah, absolutely. I really love the idea of having that warm up. If everybody says something at the start of the meeting, they're much more likely to participate during the rest of the meeting. That's a great idea. And also using the retromat.org, I'll put the link on the show notes so that people can easily find it. Using the retromat.org, we can find lots of formats that help us to set the scene, right? To create an environment where people feel comfortable coming up with their own ideas. I find that transformation that you're talking about of first coming up with the solutions, we want to help. That's why we end up being Scrum Masters, right? And then we want to help by providing solutions. But that transformation of helping by giving the solution to being a coach, so helping by helping them come up with their own solution, is a critical experience, as you said, for our Scrum Masters and for our careers. That's a great story. Thank you for sharing that, Samet.
Thank you very much, Vasco.
Monday is about what we learn from our obstacles and our failures. But tomorrow is Team Tuesday here on the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast. We explore teams and their journeys, the habits they develop that threaten their performance, how each of our guests help their teams evolve, and the one key lesson they learned from that experience. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.